think it's a privilege to call yourself and it's something that you have to earn.
People who knew Tom before he was fully brainwashed say that he was a sweet and loving person, and he's turned into something.
Will and Jada were 100% Scientologists, period. I have a lawsuit against Jada, and I'm in court right now for the civil restraining order, and I mentioned the Church of Scientology in that for the man. Somebody put a dead dog in a trash bag.
I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of someone to constantly walk behind you and say, you're insane.
What if I told you one of the biggest names in comedy once walked away from Hollywood? And ever since then, people believe he's been under silent pressure from one of the most powerful and secretive organizations in the entertainment world. Dave Chappelle didn't just disappear from a $50 million deal. He vanished from the system. And according to long-running allegations, the moment he stepped out of that system, he may have stepped into something far more dangerous than anyone realized, because behind Hollywood's fame, wealth, and perfect smiles, there are claims of control networks, psychological tactics, and an organization that some say doesn't just recruit stars, but protects its influence at any cost. And when you connect Chappelle's story with the Church of Scientology, things start to get uncomfortable fast. But the question is this real influence, or just one of Hollywood's most persistent conspiracy theories? Let's break it down. Have you ever stopped to think how all these celebrities manage to stay looking so young? And no, we're not just talking about surgeries here. It's almost like they're actually reversing age itself, and according to some allegations, that effect might be coming from a very shady underground music's liquid. Now here's where everything starts to connect. Since the early 2000s, the Church of Scientology has allegedly been trying to bring in more black celebrities. But not just anyone, we're talking rich, famous entertainers. The idea, some say, was to boost their public image and influence. And here's the strange part. Word is they even tried to recruit Dave Chappelle right after he turned down that $50 million deal and disappeared to Africa. Some people believe that the moment Dave started breaking away from Hollywood influence, he became a target. Now Scientology and Hollywood have always been deeply linked, and according to allegations, Hollywood handlers are even trained using Scientology-style methods to keep celebrities under control. There was also an old website, ChappelleTheory.com, that claimed a secret group of powerful black Hollywood figures existed called the Dark Crusaders. And reportedly they pressured Dave to fall in line music, and allegedly even threatened his family if he refused. But that's not all. When Dave returned from Africa and appeared on the Oprah show to explain why he left, he said people were sent to convince him he was mentally unstable, and according to him, they even tried to push him onto antipsychotic medication.
I got ahead of schedule, and I bounced, and I didn't tell anybody where I was going. The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication. Yeah. Like I'm sitting around, I was stressed out, but the people that were telling me I was insane, I believe that they knew what was going on. So, this was troublesome.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not taking this medicine, man, because I know these people be trying to control you. Or maybe discredit you. I was afraid,
But you were stressed out. That's why.
There's no question. But it's very stressful for someone to constantly walk behind you and say.
And then Dave also revealed that when he refused to take the meds, they tried to mess with him psychologically, using different tics to drive him insane.
Oh, hey, how about this? I showed up to work the first week, and where my office used to be, they built a wall there.
Why?
I didn't know why. But it came out later that they were like, well, they said you wanted it. I don't want to be walled up at the office. I like hanging.
Now here's where it gets even darker. Many people believe the tactics used against Dave Chappelle mirror something straight out of Scientology's playbook, because Scientology has a system called fair game. And this isn't just a rumor, it's a documented policy linked to founder L. Ron Hubbard from the 1960s. The idea is simple and brutal. Once someone is labeled an enemy, all rules are off. Hubbard allegedly stated that such people could be tricked, sued, lied to, or even destroyed. He even wrote that they could be deprived of property or harmed by any means, and that anyone attacking Scientology should be ruined utterly.
You are deemed an enemy of the Church of Scientology. They're going to use any mean possible to come after you. And it's just nasty stuff.
What do they call that again? They have a word for it.
Fair game.
Fair game. And can you explain what that is?
Fair game is, like I said, it was the actual written policy of anybody who's been deemed an enemy of the Church of Scientology. You use any tactics possible to come after them. They are fair game.
Wow. It's like the cops too. I mean, you've chatted about the LAPD.
You know, not long ago, the Hollywood Division police station on Wilcox, they used to have a Scientology kiosk inside of there.
Wow, really?
And there are Hollywood cops who are in the Church of Scientology.
Officially, Scientology claims the fair game term was canceled in the late 1960s. But whistleblowers argue the tactics never actually stopped. They just stopped using the name. In fact, as late as 1985, Scientology reportedly argued that going after enemies was a protected religious practice under the Constitution. So what does this look like in real life? One of the most talked about methods is something called a noisy investigation. Basically, private investigators are sent to contact your friends, neighbors, co-workers, anyone connected to you, and claim they're investigating you for serious crimes. Not necessarily to find truth, but to damage your reputation and make people see you as guilty. And according to critics, this has been used against journalists, former members, and anyone who speaks out. Now here's where Hollywood comes back in. Many believe that some entertainment fixers and handlers are trained in these exact methods. Scientology has had a celebrity center for decades, and has worked with high-profile figures, including Tom Cruise and Jerry Seinfeld. And some say these tactics didn't stay inside the church. They leaked into the wider entertainment industry. Even bodyguard Big Homie Cece has claimed that Diddy didn't invent certain alleged blackmail style tactics himself, but may have learned them through Scientologist connections in Hollywood.
What do you think about them accusing Diddy of having cameras in his house so he could record celebrities and politicians and use it as blackmail?
I firmly believe that's true because in that sector of people, a lot of them practice Scientology. And Scientology, that was their thing. They would get people in compromising positions. They'll hold that footage over their head and get them to agree to things. I think he one of them Scientology people, bro. Because that's probably where he got that from. A lot of powerful guys operate like that. So the things I'm seeing with him, it all makes sense.
And then Jaguar Wright also jumped in, making similar claims, suggesting there may be a deeper link between Scientology and a rumored secret network of powerful Hollywood elites.
They asked Leah Remini. She's a little more credible. But then again, she might have been able to pull some of their cards because a lot of them motherfuckers is involved in that Scientology bullshit too. Right into the corner where Biggie was killed. I was just there. Literally. And that building, it's this big, gaudy, Masonic looking thing. You know, it's all right, architecturally wise. But what gets really interesting about it is when the sun goes down, they turn the lights on, blood red, pure blood red. The whole building glows, pure blood red. I don't know, man. It just feels disturbing to me. You put this thing up that looks like some kind of Masonic monument where Biggie Smalls was shot to death. And at night, you thought that the color should be blood red.
You spoke about Scientology.
Yeah.
Does that have to do with anything with the Illuminati, or is that this separate entity?
They're separate entities, but they work in tandem.
Right.
They spy on each other's people for each other.
Right.
You know, if they don't want to make it look like they're stalking one of their, you know, defectees, they'll ask somebody from TMZ to do it for them. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud, allegedly. Harvey. They farm it out, make it seem like it's just paparazzi stuff when they're actually doing investigation. And Scientologists, they're relentless. A lot of people farm out their gaslighting work to them for a profit. That's LA.
So when someone like Dave Chappelle starts refusing the system, walking away from $50 million and rejecting the Hollywood game, some believe the response is strategic: pressure them, isolate them, and make them look unstable. That's the alleged playbook for anyone who steps out of line. But here's where things get even more complicated. Scientology publicly claims to be strongly against psychiatry and medication. They even run a museum in Los Angeles called the Psychiatry Industry of Death Museum, funded by the church, where psychiatry is blamed for everything from global wars to modern tragedies. Members are even said to sign agreements refusing psychiatric treatment entirely. And this is where Tom Cruise's famous outburst about medication comes in, where he publicly criticized Brooke Shields for using antidepressants for postpartum depression.
But here's the problem. You don't know the history of psychiatry. I do. All it does is mask the problem, Matt. And if you understand the history of it, it masks the problem. That's what it does. That's all it does. You're not getting to the reason why. There is no such thing as a chemical imbalance.
So postpartum depression to you is
Matt,
kind of a little psychological gobbledygook?
No, I did not say that.
I'm just asking what would you call it?
Matt, that is the post. Now you're talking about two different things.
But that's what she went on the antidepressant for.
But what happens, the antidepressant, all it does is mask the problem. There's ways of vitamins and through exercise and various things. I'm not saying that that isn't real.
Now let's be clear for a second. Postpartum depression is a serious medical condition that can be life-threatening for many new mothers, and dismissing treatment like antidepressants can be extremely dangerous. But here's where the contradiction gets even more intense. Publicly, Scientology presents itself as fully anti-medication and anti-psychiatry. Yet Dave Chappelle himself has claimed that during his breakdown period, people tried to push him onto antipsychotic medication, even though he didn't believe he needed it. So think about that. An organization that says all mental health issues are spiritual problems allegedly tries to medicate someone who is resisting control. Some argue it's not about health at all, it's about influence and control. Because once someone is labeled unstable, their credibility drops instantly. And then there's another layer people talk about, the way some celebrities seem not to age normally. Tom Cruise is in his 60s but still looks decades younger. Jada Pinkett Smith has long been linked with Scientology rumors, and many say she appears unusually youthful for her age. Beyonce too is often mentioned in these conversations for maintaining a consistent look over decades. Some rumors suggest the church may have access to exclusive treatments or experimental substances. Not the psychiatric drugs they publicly reject, but other undisclosed methods of maintaining appearance. If you've seen The Substance starring Demi Moore, you might understand the kind of theory people connect to this idea.
The substance is real. How do you explain that Lindsay Lohan looked like this before, and now she transformed into this? What do you say about Madonna? She completely became a different person. Christina Aguilera exploded the news. And what do you say about Adele? It speaks for itself.
This doctor over here reveals what the substance is, so please listen very carefully before they delete this video.
Most people, especially young people, probably don't realize that they're walking around right now in about 55%, maybe 60% of their true state of normal. There is a nutrient, amino acid, substrate, compound, an element missing from their body that if they knew what it was, would make the difference between them being an average person and being a...
With Scientology's deep financial power and tight control over high-level members, supporters of these theories argue it's not impossible that private, exclusive treatments exist behind closed doors. Now things get even murkier. Actress Sandra Bullock has spoken about a special type of micro-needling treatment she uses to maintain her skin. And while she has never confirmed any link to Scientology, rumors from the 2000s claim the church allegedly once tried to recruit her as a potential partner for Tom Cruise. So on one side you have a public message claiming psychiatry is evil and medication is dangerous. But on the other side there are allegations of controlling tactics, recruitment pressure, and possible access to exclusive treatments used by elite circles. And that leaves one big question hanging. Is this all just coincidence and Hollywood aging magic? Or is there something deeper happening behind the scenes? Why would an organization say it rejects medication, yet allegedly try to use it to label someone unstable? And what exactly are the methods, or substances, That keeps certain stars looking decades younger than the rest. At the end of the day, none of these claims have ever been officially proven. Scientology denies the allegations. Hollywood denies the conspiracy theories. And many of the names mentioned have never publicly confirmed any of these stories. But what keeps this topic alive is not hard proof. It's the patterns people think they see, the timing of events, and the questions that never seem to get real answers. Why do so many stories from Hollywood keep circling back to the same names and organizations? Why do some celebrities talk about pressure or control after stepping away? And why do certain stars always seem untouched by time? Maybe it's all coincidence. Maybe it's all exaggerated online theories. Or maybe there's more happening behind the scenes than anyone outside the industry will ever fully understand. But until real answers come out, this story will keep spreading, evolving, and getting even bigger every time it's discussed. Because in Hollywood, silence often creates more questions than answers. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dive celebrity stories and hidden Hollywood mysteries. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss what drops next. Let me know what you think, and stay tuned for what comes next. Peace.